This is a review of the ShuOne HSA-652 USB condenser microphone, and it's a companion to the Your Zoom Sound Sucks video, which I'll link to in the description and also in the right hand side of the screen. Although I mentioned this microphone in that video, I didn't go in depth into its operation and what you get when you buy it, so this review will cover all of that. To start off, we're going to have a little unboxing and see what you get when you purchase the HSA-652. Obviously, we'll start with the box, and this immediately leads to the first bit of confusion because both the box and the microphone itself have ShuOne Go stamped on them. But as far as I can tell, the company is actually called ShuOne. This is the reason I called it the ShuOne Go in the original video. Anyway, let's get the box open and lay the contents out on the bench. Now, starting from left to right, we have a USB A to USB B cable, that's at 1.5 meters, and that plugs directly into the mic and then into the computer. We have a USB A to USB A extension, again that's about 1.5 meters. We have the microphone itself. We have a tripod, which is a plastic top part and metal legs. Then we have the plastic tripod mic mounting bracket. And finally, the instruction book. It's nice to note here and to see that both the USB cables included have an RF choke attached to cut down on the interference. That's great to see on something in this price range. Now, before we have a look at the microphone build and features, we'll have a brief look at the instructions, which I'll lay out in front of you so that you can take a screenshot if you so wish. But it really is going to be brief because it's basically two sides of a page. And this has such poorly translated phrases as, it has excellent performance in network K song and network shouting. I don't know what that means. I really don't. No clue. Anyway, the important information from the instruction book is here in this table, which is the specs for the mic, but I'm not genuinely sure I can entirely trust these specs, but we'll go with them anyway. Okay, so this part of the video is where we look into the construction of the microphone, this little beauty here, the HSA-652. Now, in the original Your Zoom Sound Sucks video, I stated confidently that this was of all metal construction. Having thought about that, I'm going to investigate a little bit further in this segment to see whether it actually is the case. The reason why I'm not so confident now is because if this was of all metal construction and not just the top and the bottom, I would expect when I pick it up after a number of hours overnight, for instance, where it's much cooler, that the metal would be cold. And this isn't always cold or even cool to the touch. It warms up quite quickly, and when you flick it, could be plasticky. So I'm going to have to take the bottom off. This normally on a condenser microphone you can unscrew the top and the mesh comes out and shows the capsule, but the mesh it won't come off. That's been sealed, so it's only the bottom that can come out. Incidentally, you might see this pink hue that's coming through the mesh. That is the pop guard, the pop filter, to stop plosives, the pup sound, or the sibilants, which is the Susie sizzle sausages, the sound, the S sound. I don't know how good that is. We'll find out later on when we actually do the vocal test. But let's try and unscrew the bottom. Now you can hear from the ring that is definitely metal. And it's on a thread which doubles as the thread for the stand. So the USB socket goes in the bottom, the USB cable goes in the bottom, and it's a USB-B socket. This is definitely metal where the threads are. This is definitely metal where the bottom is. So I'm going to try and look and see if I can. Again, it does actually seem metal. It's very hard. I'll try and show you without going into focus. Let me see if I can focus it in. Can I just Try and focus in on this. No, it's desperately trying to focus in on my face, which is no good. But it does seem metal. So my original conclusion stands. This is an all metal construction. Let me just whiz this bottom back on. And yeah, so construction-wise, it's not too bad. For £20, I have seen a lot worse. For a lot more money, I have seen a lot worse. So yeah, that's pretty good. The original thing stands. There are two potentiometers on the front, and there's a little socket, a 3.5mm jack socket for your low latency headphone output. We'll test that later when we all get it plugged in. But from the point of view of what I said in the original video, I concur. It is of all metal construction, and it's really quite. Even the mesh doesn't give. It's quite a firm construction, so I'm happy with that. Now, let's go and try and plug it in and get some recording made with it. So we're about at the stage where we can plug the microphone into the laptop. One really good thing is, and I mentioned it earlier on, but the fact that there's effectively 3 meters in length of USB cable here, where you've got 1.5 meters, the original cable and the extension. That's pretty good. You don't need to do that at something at this price point, really. So that's nice to see. It's also nice to see, like I said, RF chokes everywhere. That's good to see. So let's just plug this in, and let's plug this in. Now there is a little, you really can't see this. I don't think you'll be able to see this. You might be able to see there's a blue hue. There you go, you can see it there behind both of the pots, which is nice to see. Just to know that there's power going in there, nothing more, nothing less. And I'm going to go into Audacity just to check. I will start the monitor. Well, I'll pop this down here. So it's the ShuOne HSA. This is a Linux machine, so I've got lots of different interfaces on here. ShuOne HSA-652 USB audio, comes in as an internal mic. There's a headset and a microphone option on here, but that's the one we want. We're just going to start monitoring, and then I'm just going to turn it up. I'm going to turn it up to about the 12 o'clock position on the front. So as I said before, you can see here, there is a mic gain and an echo. It says echo. It's not really. It's reverb. It's just a very basic reverb. We'll try that out later on, but I don't expect anybody to use that in real life. And then there's this jack. So let's try the low latency jack for now. I've got a little headphone set here. See what I can describe this to you. Just make sure that I've got it on the right way. Yeah. So right ear, left ear, and let's have a look. Oh. Ow, right, okay, so yeah, so this is, I can hear it, it's low latency. One major problem that I can immediately come across is that you can't alter the volume of the low latency output, and it's quite boomy and quite loud, so I don't think I'll be using that very often, but it's nice to know it's there. So I'm just going to take this out now. So yeah, it does work, but whether you'll need that, I don't know. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just get the recording going. I'm happy with the level. It's peaking at about -6 dB, so that's good enough. Let's start recording. Yeah, so confirmation if needed that obviously these microphones are only tested on Windows and Macs, but it does work quite happily on a Linux machine. So another question that I had kind of assumed in the video, because there's nothing in the documentation, there's nothing in the instructions, and there's nothing I could find online which would tell you whether it's a front facing or side facing microphone. So sorry, a front addressed or a side addressed microphone is the correct terminology. And what that basically means is where you speak into the microphone. So I would always assume, and I think I'm still going to be proven right, but I would always assume that if you've got a microphone like this, it's a side addressed microphone, and that's the capsule, which is the bit that converts your sound into an electrical impulse. That capsule will be sitting here, not in the end. But the reason why I'm confused is that some of the ShuOne documentation and PR documentation for this microphone, in fact the only video I could find, does actually show it being addressed this way and this way. So unless there's some radical new capsule that you can have an equal amount of quality from both directions, I think one of those is actually incorrect. So we're about to find out. So it's a cardioid microphone, which means that it's the pattern of a heart being cardiology, etc. Which means that when you speak into this portion of the microphone, that's where you get the best sound, and as you go round to the back, you'll get the quietest sound. So we're going to do two ways. We're going to check that it's a cardioid pattern. We're going to check that it's an addressed, side addressed microphone, not a top addressed microphone. So let's start here. I'm gonna sit here with the microphone at about here, about this far away from my face, and I'm going to start talking and moving the microphone round. Now, about this stage, you should be getting much quieter if this is a side addressed microphone. And by this stage at the back, you should be getting the quietest time, and I can see that that's the case on the waveform in Audacity. Now, if I continue round to this side, you can see that the volume is picking up again, and then I'm back at the front, which is the loudest. So it does seem, and I haven't heard this back, but it does seem that it's a side addressed cardioid pattern. Now, I'll go to the front address, just in case this is, and you can see that the volume has dropped down considerably from there. So I am suggesting that this is a side addressed microphone, not a front addressed microphone at all, which is what I suspected. So far, everything I said in the original video is correct. Let me just put the microphone here and give it the best chance of saying something. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to speak for a bit to get a good recording, and then I'm going to do some processing on what I speak, the next part that I speak, just to give you an idea of how good that the microphone could sound if you do some post-processing, because I'm guessing that the quality on this isn't great. I'm guessing that it's again, I'm not hearing this back at the moment. I'm just recording it without a monitor. But I'm expecting that the sound will be quite high, quite sharp, harsh, lots of highs, a little bit mids, and not much on the bass response. But let's just see. So I'll move back to the camera position that I had before and continue, but from that point on I will have heard the recording, and then I'll have processed some of the recording so I can play it back to you. Right, so I've listened back to the recording that I made. I'm not going to address that yet. I've got one more thing to do before I address that, and that is the stand that comes with it. It's a tripod. It's a little tripod, and you get two bits. You get the top bit, which is a bracket, which is screwed on to the tripod. The tripod does have metal legs, but everything else about it is plastic. apart from the there's a nut and a screw. That's metal. It's okay. It's all right. It's fairly sturdy. If you screw the microphone in here, I guess that's the way it's supposed to mount, so that it's facing you, and that should be reasonably sturdy if you want to just do anything from a Zoom call, or if you want to do something else. Now, the reason why I hesitate to say something else, obviously the documentation for this suggests that you can use it for all sorts of incredible things, like podcasting and all, and doing, well, you know, possibly even broadcasting. It has high hopes for this microphone. Now, I poo-pooed it before when we were recording my voice, and I said it was going to be harsh and full of highs and mids and not many lows. But I've listened back to that audio. Now, you've already heard it, so I haven't put any processing on that at all. What you hear there is exactly what came out of this mic and was recorded in Audacity. And I have to say, for £20, I'm a little bit impressed. I could definitely utilize this more than just for video conferencing calls. This is not bad. I've heard £50 microphones that are worse than this. So I'm not suggesting that it's a Neumann U87 killer, but this is seriously useful. If you're recording a podcast and that involves traveling, and you do podcasts out of hotel rooms, well, you'll want something very small to get into your luggage. And this, perhaps with a little bit of extra post-processing, might be your solution. And that's a bit of a shock to end on. Yeah, a little bit impressed with this. Not something I would use every day, but if needs must, yeah, you could get away with it. With a little bit of extra processing on, to get rid of some of the noise and stuff like that, it's not too bad. Shock horror. So there you are, the ShuOne HSA-652. It's not bad, says John. And with that, I'll leave you for this video. Please subscribe, hit like, and the little dingy bell if you enjoyed this little video and the original one. And I'll come up with some more content in the next few months, which I hope you will like. So there, if you want a portable condenser microphone that plugs directly into your laptop, this might be the one you want. Well, that's not quite all from me at the moment, because as I was editing this video, I realized that I'd promised you I was going to show you the echo functionality on the HSA-652. As I said before, I think it's more of a reverb than an echo, but I haven't played it for you, so you wouldn't know. I'm going to do that now. I'm recording this little overdub as using the HSA-652, and I'm going to add a bit more echo or reverb. So it's at 0 at the moment, and I'm going to go to the 10 o'clock position, and that should have some reverb on. And then I'll go to the 12 o'clock position, and that'll have a bit more reverb on. This is probably sounding awful. I'm not listening to this through a monitor, so. And then I'm going to go to the 2 o'clock position, and then I'm going to go all the way around. So that's maximum reverb. And then I'm going to switch it back again, so you can actually hear me. So yeah, that's what the echo functionality or the reverb functionality is on the microphone. And as promised, that's what it sounds like. I don't think that's going to have any practical use, but just so I wasn't giving you false promises, there it is. Now, that genuinely is all from me for this video. Thank you for watching.